Look, I need to talk to you for a minute. Yeah, you, the one carrying all that weight today. The one who feels like life just handed you the worst deal possible. You had it all figured out, didn't you? You had the whole thing mapped out in your head. Who you'd end up with, where you'd work, the house with the white picket fence, the whole package. And you held on to that plan like it was everything. But then, the floor just dropped. The relationship fell apart. That job you were counting on, rejection email. Or maybe it was a diagnosis that changed the entire game. And now, you're standing there, in the middle of this absolute mess you didn't ask for, looking up and screaming, "Why? Why did you take this from me? I did everything right." You're grieving your plan because you can't see what he's actually protecting you from. Okay, stick with me here. I want you to picture something. There's this little bird, right? He's been searching for weeks, literally weeks, trying to find the perfect spot for his home. And I'm not talking about just any random branch. This bird found himself a massive oak tree. Beautiful, thick leaves giving perfect shade, way up high where the foxes and wolves can't reach. It felt secure. It felt like, yeah, this is it. This is destiny. So what does he do? He goes to work. And I mean he works. Hundreds of trips back and forth, grabbing the strongest twigs he can find. He's lining it with soft moss, horsehair to make it cozy. He's using mud like cement to hold everything together. This bird put his blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. When he finally finishes, he sits in that nest, puffs out his little chest, looks out over the valley, and sings a victory song. He's thinking, I made it. I'm safe. This is where I belong. But here's the thing about life. It shifts when you least expect it. That evening, the whole vibe changed. The air got heavy, birds stopped singing, the sky turned this scary shade of gray, then black, and this violent storm just rolled in out of nowhere, the kind the forest hadn't seen in years. Wind whipping the trees back and forth like crazy, and then crack. Lightning tears through the sky and hits that perfect oak tree. The branch snaps, that masterpiece the bird spent weeks building, flung into the mud, gone. The little bird barely makes it out alive. He finds some cold, jagged rock 100 yards away and spends the entire night there, shivering, feathers soaked, watching what's left of his hard work just dissolve in the rain. He was devastated, angry, looking up like, I sang for you, I worked hard, I found the perfect spot. Why would you let a storm destroy my blessing? You're cruel. But here's what the bird couldn't see. He had a limited view, you know? He could only see the storm. He couldn't see the snake. For the last 3 days, there'd been this venomous snake slowly, quietly winding its way up that oak tree trunk, patient, hungry. And that very evening, right as the sun went down, it reached the branch, coiled up, ready to strike the second that bird fell asleep. If that storm hadn't come, if that lightning hadn't struck, if that branch hadn't broken, the bird wouldn't be homeless. He'd be dead. The thing he thought was a tragedy was actually an intervention. The storm wasn't sent to break him, it was sent to move him. We're all walking around with this dangerously narrow view of life. We're obsessed with the now and totally blind to the next. When we look at our lives, honestly, we're looking through a keyhole, seeing this tiny little sliver of the room, but we're arrogant enough to think we see the whole house. That's the tragedy right there. We judge our entire existence based on how much pain we feel right this second, completely unaware of the bigger picture. Think about that bird on the rock. In his mind, the story is simple. He built a home, he was good, and God destroyed it. That's his truth, his reality. He's mourning because to him, good was the nest and bad was the storm. He can't see around the corner. He can't see through the bark of the tree. His biology literally limits him to what's right in front of his face, so he's processing his rescue as a complete ruin. But imagine if you could give that bird new eyes. lift him up, let him see the whole timeline from above. His grief would turn into gratitude instantly. If he could see that predator coiling in the shadows, he wouldn't be crying about the rain. He'd be thanking the thunder. And that's exactly where you are with your disappointments. You're crying over a breakup, thinking it's the end of your happiness, because you can't see the misery staying in that relationship would have caused you 5 years down the road. You're angry about the business deal falling through because you can't see the bankruptcy or the stress it would have led to. You're screaming at the red light that made you late, not knowing it kept you from the accident at the intersection a mile ahead. We treat blocked paths like punishments because we're stuck in the present, judging our lives based on comfort instead of safety. We want what feels good today, not what keeps us alive tomorrow. That's the arrogance of the immediate. We scream unfair because we don't have clearance to see the blueprints. We're like kids crying because our parent took away a sharp knife. To the kid, it's a shiny toy, and the parent is a thief. To the parent, it's a danger, and taking it away is love. The bird can't comprehend the snake, and we can't comprehend the catastrophic outcomes of the things we beg God for. We sit in the ashes of our plans, building a case against God's goodness, presenting evidence of our suffering, totally unaware that the evidence is actually proof of His mercy. You're judging the whole movie by one freeze frame, weeping over the closed door, banging your fists on the wood, convinced your happiness is on the other side, completely blind to the fact that the room behind that door is filled with fire. Here's the dangerous part. There's this specific kind of blindness that comes from getting exactly what you thought you wanted. We measure whether a path is right by how beautiful it looks or how much we've invested in it. We convince ourselves that if we sweat for it, cried for it, prayed for it, then it must be meant for us. That's the trap. Think about how that bird chose his tree. He didn't stumble onto some random twig. He chose that oak because it checked every box of what success was supposed to look like. Tall equals status, thick leaves equal comfort, sturdy equals longevity. He fell in love with the aesthetic of safety and completely missed the actual danger. He built a shrine to his own judgment, weaving his whole identity into those branches, believing that because the tree was beautiful, it had to be blessed. We do the exact same thing. We meet someone who looks like our type, talks like our soulmate, fits perfectly into the family photos, so we ignore the red flags in their character because the picture's just too perfect to ruin. We find a job with the salary we dreamed of, the title we wanted, so we ignore the toxic culture that's slowly going to destroy our mental health because the resume boost is too good. We become architects of our own destruction, fighting to stay in buildings that are structurally unsound just because we like how the curtains look. That bird fought the wind to stay in the nest, gripped those twigs with his claws, resisting the very force trying to save him from death. He thought the stability of the nest was God's will, not realizing the instability was actually grace. We confuse comfort with calling. We think if the door opens easily, it leads to paradise. If it slams shut, it's a tragedy. We don't realize that the most dangerous traps in life are baited with our favorite things. We stand in the center of our carefully built plans, admiring the walls, defending them against any change, not realizing we've built a beautiful prison cell, locked ourselves inside with the key in our pocket, and we're begging God to keep the door shut when He's trying to break the lock to set us free from a perfection that's actually poison. We think peace is the absence of conflict, and love is the presence of comfort. But there's this rugged, violent side to mercy that we mistake for punishment. We believe if God loves us, He'll keep our lives steady, predictable, like a calm sea. But listen, when you're asleep in a burning building, you don't need a lullaby. You need an alarm bell. You need someone to kick down the door and drag you out. That's the paradox, disruption as rescue. The bird was never going to leave that nest on his own. He was too invested, too much time building it, too much energy perfecting it. If the wind had only blown gently, he would have just gripped tighter. If the rain had been a drizzle, he would have fluffed his feathers and waited it out. His comfort was the thing anchoring him to his death. So the environment had to become hostile enough to evict him. We look at the chaos, the sudden layoff, the unexpected breakup, the lease that wasn't renewed, and we call it disaster, bad luck, spiritual warfare. We completely miss that the chaos is the only thing powerful enough to break our stubborn attachment to the things killing us. We're creatures of habit. We'll choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven every single time. We'll stay in a job that drains our soul because the paycheck is regular. We'll stay in a relationship that destroys our self-esteem because we're scared of being alone. We'll sleep next to the snake because the moss is soft. So the rescue can't be a suggestion. It has to be an eviction. The branch has to break. The lightning has to strike. The nest has to fall. The intensity of the storm is usually a testament to the depth of the danger. The disruption isn't there to punish you for your past, it's there to position you for your future. You're screaming at the wreckage, asking why your life's been turned upside down, not realizing upside down was the only way to get you off the path of the predator. You're looking at the debris, calling it tragedy, but the creator's looking at the empty space where you used to be, the space now occupied by that venomous snake, and calling it victory. The pain is real, yeah, but it's necessary. It's the sting of a parent slapping a child's hand away from a hot stove. It hurts, it shocks, it leaves a mark, but it's infinitely better than the burn. You're being pushed, shoved, shaken, not because you're hated, but because you're being moved out of the line of fire by a force that refuses to let you settle for a comfort that'll eventually consume you. There's maybe no human experience more painful than a closed door. That moment when what you're burning for gets met with a hard, unyielding no. We internalize rejection as a verdict on our value. If we didn't get the position, if the person walked away, if the opportunity was denied, it must be because we weren't enough. We take the no personally. We see it as punishment for our inadequacies or a sign of divine indifference. But go back to that bird on the rock. The most violent rejection of his life, the lightning striking the tree, was the only reason he survived the night. The storm was a hard no to living in that tree, a no to his hard work, a no to his comfort, a no to his plans. To the bird, that rejection felt like hatred, like the universe conspiring to crush him. But in reality, that no was the most loving thing that could have happened. It was a barrier between a fragile life and a lethal bite. We spend years banging on doors God has locked, trying to pick locks on opportunities that would have destroyed us, thinking persistence is faith, when sometimes persistence is just rebellion against safety. We weep over the partner who left, convinced they were our soulmate, never knowing their departure saved us from years of manipulation or a future that would have shattered our peace. We mourn the job we didn't get, unaware the company would go under in 6 months or the culture would have cost us our mental health. We treat the no as theft. We think God's withholding good from us when He's actually withholding us from evil. We're like toddlers screaming when a parent takes away a bottle of bleach. We see a colorful container, the parent sees a deadly chemical. Taking it away isn't cruelty, it's supreme guardianship. We have to stop interpreting God's denials as anger and start seeing them as armor. When the path is blocked, it's not because you're being rejected from the table of success, it's because you're being redirected away from poison you can't taste. You're standing outside that locked door, feeling abandoned in the cold of disappointment. But on the other side of that door, the roof is collapsing. The rejection is the shield. It's the wall keeping the wildfire from reaching your heart.
We need to reach a place of spiritual maturity where we can look at the closed doors in our lives and not see failures, but divine barricades that stopped us from walking off a cliff we didn't even know was there. Trust that the no you received is just as blessed as the yes you wanted.